Voice, the show that brings you all the factual, relevant, and uplifting information straight from the motherland of Africa and, of course, the diaspora. My name is Chinyere Obina Onwuchekwa, author of the book series Dictates of the Heart, and I'm also the executive director for this show, Africa on the Rise. March is Women's History Month, and for this segment, we have assembled a group of powerful women from Nigeria who have reached various levels of success in their areas of endeavor, but they've gone further. They have started a movement by leveraging their connections, their success, and their knowledge to help other women to also achieve financial empowerment. Our first guest is an associate professor of strategic management and entrepreneurship, and she is the founder and executive director of Comdev, Dr. Nkiru Ifekwem. Welcome, Dr. Nkiru.
Thank you very much, Obina, for getting me here. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Professor Nkiruka Ifekwem. I'm an associate professor of strategic management and entrepreneurship in Bells University of Technology, the first university of technology in Nigeria. Having been a teacher for such entrepreneurship and strategic management for a long time, I got passion about what women, the challenges they face being an entrepreneur, and also looking back at the communities, the rural communities, you find out that most of the members of the rural communities, which are made up of men, women, youths, children, disabled, aged, all these are members of the community, and they face so many challenges in the rural area, not being able to access government benefits. What all the things government have for them, the NGOs have for them, they could not be able to access that because they are less empowered. So that brings us into forming the association organization for community development project, where we try to unlock the potentials of these community members and make them capable of sustaining themselves, eradicating poverty in our society.
Thank you so much. Our next guest is a former deputy governor of Anambra State, and she is the founder, chairman of the board of trustees of Women Organization for Gender Issues, WOG, and she is also a princess. Barrister Stella Odife, Your Excellency, welcome to Africa on the Rise.
Thank you very much. As you rightly said, my name is Stella Adak Odife, former Deputy Governor, Anambra State. I'm a lawyer by profession. I have an NGO, Women Organization for Gender Issues, primarily focused on women development, which I started off way back in 2000, and we have been in operation for a long time before I now ventured into politics and got myself into the running for being a deputy governor of a state. I've started with Federal House, and then funny enough, I lost Federal House election. I'm a professional woman lawyer. I have my master's in corporate finance, and I lost election to a G3 student, that's secondary school, high school. A man. From 3, who didn't finish secondary school. And so that really taught me a big lesson. I had to go back to the drawing board and start wondering what went wrong. That shows, I'm saying this to tell you the extent men dominate the political arena. And maybe with time I will explain all the problems we have as women in the process. But that was the biggest lesson.
So it really highlights the gender inequality that the high school does not even have a high school diploma is able to win an election over someone who's an attorney who has the background and the experience. So these are the reasons why these women are doing this fight to try to bridge the gap in gender equality. So thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your detailed introduction. And our next guest is Dr. Bilkis Magoro. She's the founder of Ismore Magoro Foundation. She's also the founder and CEO of Bilmore Technical and Vocational Center. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Magoro. Welcome to Africa on the Rise.
The pleasure is mine. I'm Dr. Bilkis Magoro. I would say that I come from a northern part of Nigeria, and I'm a development consultant, which I've done for over 28 years, 29. And I've done advocacy for women and children, including the youth. This too I've done over for like 18 years to 20 years. I've done a lot of travel around the world, attended different seminars, over 56 of them, where I've been a delegate on that. Most of them representing different policies and trying to discuss different policies towards Nigeria, Africa as a continent. And most of those times trying to see how we can promote the continent itself. And the same thing goes with Nigeria. I've contested elections in Nigeria 3 times for the National Assembly from the northwestern part of Nigeria. And for all the 3 times I've contested, of course, I did not win the elections. The last election was in 2019, and I was the only female contestant from the Northwest that contested for the National Assembly, both from both major parties, which I did not, of course, I didn't get through. So automatically it meant that we didn't have a single woman from the Northwest representing any of us in the National Assembly all through until today. There's none. So my major concern and fight, even though I've been in politics, is to make sure to see that there's grassroots awareness and we have more women involvement from the Northwest to build up towards different positions. Of course, I have the NGO which deals with women, and I've been doing that over the years. And our major part is production of shea butter, which we do, and we do export that. And I'm a board member to the Global Shea Alliance. So we do that, and that empowers the women from a northwestern part of Nigeria that do produce the shea butter. Yeah. Lots of trainings towards empowerment for women has taken place. And then my other center I have, which is the Bilmore Technical Vocational Center. It's a center for children with learning disability, and that has been ongoing to about 10 years now. We've had over 86, 89 children and young adults that have come through us, and then we've done training of teachers to identify children with special needs. So it's a wide scope, and then I think I carry a lot of different hats and different things, but mostly all humanitarian ones.
Thank you so much, Dr. Magoro. Thank you to all the panelists for your participation. So I can see that all of you here have really reached somewhere in society where it's very easy for you to be comfortable and not have to worry about the common person. Yet, a common thread that I see among all of you is that you're all working hard to try to make sure that you empower the people of society. So what is it that motivates you to do this?
Okay. When you look at the gap in the society in Nigeria, it's quite alarming, where you have the rich getting richer and the downtrodden getting much poorer. So it's like someone that doesn't have passion for other people that we feel that things are okay. When you go to the rural areas, you hear government most times saying they have these billions of naira for certain projects to ameliorate the pains of the people in the community. And you go back to the community, you find out that none of them has access to such things. So things like that do move us, move people like me to say what is happening. How can these people be educated, be empowered to be able to ask questions at least? For example, in Nigeria, every local government area has an allocation, billions of naira allocation. Like my own local government area, it consists of 10 communities, 10 small communities, and they have over 100 billion every month for allocation. And you could not see anything that is done with that. The common man in the society cannot say this is what I benefited from the government. Starting from health, from schools, academic, from water supply, everything. So it's like it takes that passion to start thinking, not that I'm not among the rich, but at least I'm a little bit comfortable to be able to get my 3 square meals a day. But what of other neighbors? What of people in your community? So these are what moves one with that passion to say, let things be right.
Okay, thank you so much. So it appears that there is a lot of funding that's available from the government for the people. So what is the barrier between people actually accessing this fund?
From my own experience, the greatest barrier we have is, general speaking, accountability, lack of accountability. The federal government gives allocation to the states, and the states are not even accountable to them. They just say that they just give them allocation. We don't know whether they even give account of the money they're spending. Then at the local government level, the federal government again gives same allocation for local government to the governors. And the governors now manage it without any reference to federal government. And they pocket it at that level and just give overhead cost. I'm speaking from experience now.
Because
Overhead cost to the various local governments. I'll use my local government as an example. We got 100 million minimum every month. 5 communities. That would have given 20 million to every community. But like she rightly, Dr. Nkiru said, it does not get to the lowest level. So the reason is because the state governor controls that fund. And there is no law making it compulsory for them to disburse the money to the local government. But good news is that currently there's a bill that has been passed now allowing local government to have their funds, because that's the only way it can trickle down to the lowest level. But even if that fund is sent there in that bill, they should make it compulsory for the local government chairmen also to give account of that money to the governor. If there's no accountability, to also filter the way it is. But let me tell you, so I feel uncomfortable if I don't let you realize that from history, women are the poorest of the poor. That is what motivates people like us to work on gender issues, and we're talking about women. From the one African culture goes patrilineal. Only very few are matrilineal. What it means is that from day one, the male child is given advantage, and men see themselves as the leader, the custodian of wealth. They own land, they do everything. The woman is just a baby making factory and a cook in the house. You maintain the home from day one. So the structure, it gives a disadvantage for the girl child from the beginning. Good news again is that we have the Child's Right Act, which is in Nigeria in force right now. Also domesticated by all the southern states. Unfortunately, some of the northern states have not domesticated it yet. What it means is that the girl child has a core right now to also have education like this. And education is the key to unlock the poverty or the gap between the male and the female, both into going into politics or being economically empowered. I will also, the the key thing again we need, what motivates people like us again, is lack of knowledge at the lowest level. There is need for that advocacy. And the good news is that we have orientation agency in Nigeria, a federal organization who is supposed to be making it possible for the rural people to understand what is going on. Like she rightly said, money goes down, agric provisions are available. The women are mainly the peasant farmers. They don't get their allocation because they don't even know it exists. So these are the little obstacles we have at the moment. The patrilineal setup from day one puts the woman under disadvantaged position.
So what can be done to actually educate the common person on the street, the woman out there, the farmer, the trader, the person that's struggling? What can be done to actually make them aware that they have the power, that they have access to all these facilities and they can use it?
Well, I think basically, of course, with advocacy and being able to have groups that can actually talk to the women and educate them. But most importantly, Nigeria is a country that we have our traditional rulers, and traditional rulers are men. Okay, so if you want to have anything done and achieve anything, I think the best way is to actually get them involved in what you're doing, for them to buy into what you're doing, and they would be the people to help spread the words, because they are the ones closest to the people at the ground level. So when they're part and they're involved in what you're doing, with advocacy towards educating the women, and they play along with what you're doing, then it's acceptable by the people a lot easier. You could go to advocate in a place where you have women and you're talking to women, and if they don't see any male involvement, which is part of what has been ingrained into us anyway, is that if the men are not there in support of it, the women would probably even go against what you're saying and say, look, why are you out there? It's the same when you go for political positions and they say, look, why are you contesting? Why don't you just go and get married, have your husband and have your children? What's your business with trying to go into elected positions or leadership roles? But when the men are involved in being part of advocacy and being part of it, especially our traditional rulers, then it should actually get it should go faster, because the male he can talk to the men that are there within the community, and they would key and buy into it, and so it will be easier to spread out, especially to the women. So I think getting our traditional rulers, which are closer to the the grassroots level, will be a very good place to actually start and continue. It started, but to continue, and our religious leaders too.
So that what you ladies are doing is very important, because not only are you getting involved, you're also influencing the younger generation of women who look at you and say, if she can do this, so can I. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing.
Thank
So moving on to the government, what steps is the current administration taking towards empowering women, especially in comparison to the previous administration?
I keep saying the good news. The good news is that if you check where we are today and where we were 20 years back, I'm removing 8 years of the previous administration. We are better off. Women are better off, but we have not come up to the level we want. Obasanjo administration and the previous one, the ones after Obasanjo, understood the 35% affirmative action and tried to apply the principle. But whatever they did, the Buhari administration, I'm sorry to mention name, eroded all the impacts. Most of the impacts already built by them. In principle, we were able to fight him to a standstill. But the problem, the bottleneck we had was, again, political. He controls appointed positions. So the other administrations use the appointed position to counter the electoral position, because during election, the party structure plays a vital role, and they control who competes in the election. So the president who made that comment now he froze the appointed positions, unlike the other ones. Okay. He made some, but not as much as others. And the women, again, didn't do well because everything is economic empowerment. Our election in Nigeria has a lot of monetary. Money plays very important role. So the men control the funds. So when we, even as small as we are, try to compete with them, we cannot. Right from the beginning, the delegate system of nominating who will be the candidate disadvantages the women. You know, so it's not just a question. The present administration, it is too early for me to start judging the present administration. They're just next month, less than a year old. But so far, I would say so good. We hope definitely that it's going to play up like we had before the last administration.
It looks like a lot of progress is being made.
Right now, he is really working towards that because at least in comparison about appointments, he has made a lot of useful appointments in his administration for women at the moment. So we can't complain at the moment, but that doesn't translate our being disadvantaged in election, because if you are appointed, he can remove you. That's the problem. The appointer can remove you and at his own will.
The ultimate power.
So you have to play by his own rule.
Wow.
More than your own rules. So no matter how good you are as a woman, there's a limit to what you can do. But if you are elected, you stand on your own and you can take decisions and do what is important for the fellow women.
So the takeaway is that women should get more
involved in that's why we're talking
process.
About party structure, which controls who really comes out for election. You know, so women must get involved in being elected, not being appointed.
So you're all here for the 2024 CSW. How important is that conference at the UN, and how will it benefit your organizations and, in a larger part, the communities that you serve?
Well, I say, the main focus for the CSW 68 for this year is focusing more on poverty and how to get financial assistance to women in different parts of the world. And as has been mentioned, poverty is one of the main hindrances for women in our community as it is now. So with most of the events that have taken place, which has to do with financial inclusion, and seeing how other countries have actually been able to get their women out of the poverty level, it's a take back home of what we will try to replicate, especially when I go back place. So it's mostly access to wealth, for women, inclusion, financial inclusion, and seeing how we can impact. And of course, we're building the contacts with different financial organizations, institutions that are ready to partner with, the different women organizations and see how they can be empowered in the different, advocacy programs that they do have.
Thank you so much, Dr. Magora. We've already touched on it, but what steps can be done to help women get really involved in politics? Because there seems to be a lot of barrier that was already mentioned, and most of the time they don't believe in themselves and they believe that it's not their role to become involved in politics. What can be done to break that shackle, to that mental shackle, so that they can realize how powerful it is for them to get involved in that kind of arena?
I wanted to do a follow-up with what Princess Odife said concerning women and not being there at the elective position, because that is where actually the problem lies, because policies and decisions are taken mostly the National Assembly, where bills and laws are made. So, and you find that, like in Northwest, she's telling us now, no single woman in the National Assembly. So when they bring up issues concerning women, who will talk for the women? Nobody. So, and the problem now comes from the structure of the party. You know, party is supposed to be, members of the party supposed to be male and female, but you find out that you rarely see women contesting for party chairman. You rarely see women contesting for party secretary. What you see them contesting is woman leader. And I keep asking, what is woman leader? Who is the man leader? So those such positions are quite irrelevant, that women should try to be the structure of the political party. And again, there was a time I made this argument and people were like, I'm not an advocate of 35% affirmative action. I'm advocating for level playing ground. If there's a level playing ground, women can achieve over 80%. I'm a lecturer in the university. We never have 35% affirmative action for students to pass. But when any university all over the world, you go for the convocation, you see females coming up, topping the list, because there's a level playing ground. So when money politics is removed, violence, too much violence in politics is removed, because women are shy for violence. They can't come out to fight with dagger and knives because they want to give service to the country. So when all these things are removed, then there will be a level playing ground where men and women should compete for political position.
I quite agree with her to some extent, but on the affirmative action, I think we need it. When you are disadvantaged from the one, is even we have federal character in Nigeria. The essence of federal character is to have everybody on board at the same level. So affirmative action is a way the world felt is the only way to push to get the women a little bit in position. An opportunity for people to get a position they wouldn't have gotten ordinarily. So I think we need it first. That's why appointed position is good. We build personalities, we build a little wealth, which we can now use and compete with the men. Okay. You know. But another important thing is that we need advocacy seriously at the lowest level, so that our women also, the women should understand that we don't just aspire for the highest position. No matter the education, start from the lower level, from the ward level, if we want to get into the party structure.
So I have a question for you, Your Excellency. So you do advocate for affirmative action, but what about the possibility that nepotism comes into it and people who are not really qualified to get those positions get it just because it's allocated for a certain set of people, and the people that really need it or who qualify for it still don't get it? Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Ife Poemo, Princess Obife, and Dr. Mago. We really appreciate your time, and we wish you all the best in your endeavors. And so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your Thank you so much for watching. Please join us next time on Africa on the Rise. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram,